What a beautiful car, man. The Civic, not sold in number, but any car enthusiast will vouch for this car. In India, definitely we didn't got the manual version, we got the automatic, and that's let down, because any day the CVT does not give you the thrills of a manual. So that being that, hi guys, this is your host Akash, and we are out today on a short spin on the Z900. So there's one thing for sure, what got me into motorcycling was nothing but the sheer thrill of speed. But as you mature, as you are saddled with responsibilities of life, there is a part of you which start ticking in your mind every time you twist the throttle. So that is what, and perhaps it's a part of gaining maturity, or let's call it getting old. so that being that, one thing is for sure, that if you are into motorcycling, what there's a very clear distinction between the thrill for top speed and the acceleration. I'm a guy who just loves bonkers acceleration. Top speed doesn't thrill me enough, or let's say I don't have guts to go for the top speed in city limits, but your acceleration, that is something you can really enjoy. So right now the bike is on road mode. Let me just toggle it to sports. Yep. So now the ABS and the throttle response are all tweaked up, and whoa, this is something. It really takes away all the unnecessary thoughts, and it filters all the unwanted burdens, your work, something which is bothering you. It just filters it out. And that is for sure. You need to have a very clear mind to go fast, to enjoy a fast bike. In fact, I believe that going fast and vlogging at the same time is a tough job. But once you get into it, you get habitual of that. So apart from it, I just was toggling, or let's say surfing through the YouTube, and I have seen this thing in particular, and the thing is about the 100 octane fuel. There are many incidents on YouTube, if you search, that a person got a 100 octane in his bike, and the fuel pump died, the tank corroded, or lots of issue, ultimately leading to a visit to a service station. So recently I was I was wondering that this topic needs some sort of guidance. I'm not a pro on this. I am not a chemical engineer. I won't be able to tell you what ingredients goes into 100 octane, but as a motorcyclist I have used it, and for a very good piece of appreciation for the motorcycle, I have used it with the R15 version 3. I owned it, I loved it. I have done stupid thing. I have ridden that bike stupidly fast, and well, of course, to the limit that bike is capable of, but that too is way fast, because anything in excess of 100 kmph and you are in dangerous territories. So that being said, I have used it, and man, I literally loved it on the R15. I just cannot tell you the feeling I got the first time I used it on this bike. Man, it was bonkers. I remember if I could get the clip of that video, I would definitely put it in there, and I was shouting crazy. That thing was so amazing, and the difference was, in your face sort of thing. It wasn't a mild difference. It was nothing like yeah, you have something and then you feel something, that's it. No, it was in your face. So I have ridden that bike with, and I'll tell you what, the day I got the 100 octane on my R15, or rather in my R15, I never switched back to your regular fuel or even the 95 octane. Never. It was always the 100 octane in my R15. And I tell you, man, I just loved it. That small engine was capable of churning out so much power. I remember it till date that the first two gears would pop wheelie, power wheelie. That's bonkers for a 155cc bike. By no stretch of imagination you would believe that that bike was capable of doing that. I wouldn't if someone would tell me, but I have videos of that. I have posted it on YouTube. And slow down, man, slow down. And if you will surf or go through the, my YouTube channel, you will definitely find that that video. It was a morning ride, the first time I used it, and I was like, fuck it. That was amazing. But now what I see on YouTube is that people are complaining about your 100 octane, and that could be for many reasons. I am not sure which one of it would be, but it would be one of them. So I recently got to see a video on YouTube. It was on that was your RS 475 Aprilia. So that was a beautiful machine, but the same issue. It got into your that guy, that YouTuber, filled its bike with the 100 octane in search of more performance, but it never did. Rather, he had to get the bike to the service station, and all sort of consequences. The entire bike was opened, the throttle body was ruined, the tank was corroded, and all sort of things. And this is not the first time I have seen this. I've seen it on many YouTube videos. In fact, I have seen this live on a Yamaha service center where I usually got my bike serviced. And over there, I'll tell you, it was a FZ310. I think that was the bike, FZ310. And man, you have to believe me, that bike was ruined. The engine was seized, the gasket was damaged, and in short, the engine was blown. So that is what the 100 octane did to that bike. And with this case also, in the case of the Aprilia RS 457, something like that. I'm sorry, I'm just confusing with the name of the bike, although I shouldn't, but I am. So please excuse me for that. So that being said, man, that came as a shock to me, because I wasn't expecting an Aprilia to suffer from the 100 octane. Well, the first scenario which I can contemplate is that the fuel was bad. These 100 octanes sell in very few amount. No one generally goes for that. Only for some rev heads like us, we want to extract every bit of performance from a bike. So we literally sell our kidney to have a experience of 100 octane. And so that fuel is retailed quite low. So In that scenario, perhaps the fuel could have been bad, so it damaged the internals of the engine as well as the fuel tank. The first reason. But if it's not bad, what I have seen is that the 100 octane is a race fuel. You can't ride it in a leisure manner. If you are having 100 octane in your bike, then it's for all guns blazing. You can't afford to have it. You can't afford to just leisurely ride like this, what I am doing, 50, 60. No, it has to be on the top of the RPM range. So that is something which I am literally concerned of, and I see most of the riders having it and riding it on a leisure pace. No man, that's a race fuel, and it has to be ridden like that. The third thing which I find out, or I predict, is that you are not supposed to store that fuel in your fuel tank for a long period of time. If you have it, then make sure you burn it. Yeah, I literally every time I used to oh wow, I used to have 5 liters in, and then within 2 days, hardly 2 days, or let's say at a max of 3 days, it was gone. And that's when my bike was returning an average of with all the modification and everything else, about 32 kilometers, in fact 27 kmpl. But even at that fuel efficiency, I was able to just burn it within, let's say, a 2-day or a 3-day window. So that's what I believe could be a reason that you are not supposed to keep that fuel for long in your fuel tank. It will definitely corrode. And if you want to switch to regular fuel, then what you got to do, you got to make sure that you empty that entire fuel tank. You literally burn out the fuel, and then you top up the tank with new fuel, and until you feel that your performance has degraded a bit. Because if that happens, then ultimately the fuel in the fuel line, the race fuel in the fuel line would have completely washed off. So in that scenario, you are okay, you can store your bike, but never store a race fuel in your bike. That will literally burn into your fuel tank. So that's the third reason, I believe. And the fourth thing is the construction of the engine. Look, I am not very sure, but the R15 came with a die-cast aluminium piston, and the what's that particular piece of engine is called, the chamber. It's the chamber, combustion chamber, that was all that was aluminium. So that technology, what Yamaha claimed back then, was from MotoGP bikes. I don't know how true that was, but if taking the word of Yamaha for it, then that literally showed. Because I am a person who literally rev out the bike. I'm not doing it right now because I'm motovlogging, and when I'm motovlogging, I tend to keep the speed under control. So that's the reason I'm not revving it out. But when I'm not, I'm literally going all gun blazing. So that's the case, and that's what I think that if you are going for a 100 octane fuel, then you must ride it like a race fuel, not like this what I'm doing right now. So I, in this bike, never go beyond 95 octane. I just stick to 95 octane, and it's all right, because I believe that the kind of performance this bike offers, you cannot go at 10k RPM every now and then. The R15 was every shift I made on that bike was in excess of 9,000 RPM. Every shift, up shift, down shift. I was so spoiled on that I would ride that bike in first gear till its top speed maxed out on that particular gear. So that's what my riding style was on that bike, not on this one, definitely, because even in the first gear this bike does near about 100, so I cannot top that speed. but otherwise it was good. So I must say that you need to know that what kind of fuel you are getting into your bike. A race fuel is meant to be ridden like that. You cannot, be very leisure about it. You cannot do that. You have to be over the edge. And the construction definitely is a factor which one has to consider. I would definitely ask guys, any one of you who's right now listening to me is that, or watching my video, that please go through the manual. I believe the manual somehow illustrates few facts about it. There must be something, what kind of fuel the manufacturer is recommending. And although I never go through the manual, but I'm just telling you that because you need to be sure what kind of fuel you got to fill into your bike, because nowadays every bike is a super bike, every bike is a performance bike, but the construction really matters. If it's not something which is capable of dealing with the 100 octane, because 100 octane is so much more than a fuel. It's so much additives into it, so you have to have some reasons to for it to cost 160 rupees per liter, and that are the additives in it. So you have to really know that whether your bike can support it. And one thing more, guys, that if you believe that okay, it's all right, the bike will handle it, but trust me, there will be repercussions. If your bike is not meant for it, there will be repercussions, and you have to deal with it. So in a way, you must learn or must know whether your bike is capable of doing it or not. Well, I am being tailed by a safari or something. Oh, it's a Hector. Let it go. Man, he was really on my tail. These guys, they literally get spooked by the presence of a super bike, and that's not good. You just need to get them a pass. Let them go, man. After all, they are in the safety of a steel wall, and you are all butt naked. Oh, he has died down. But I think the moment I overtake him, just be calm, brother. So, what I was talking about? Oh man, the thoughts just slip. So, well, the engine, of course. So go through the manual, just look into it. If it supports, it's all good. If it does not, then man, you need not go for 100 octane, please. And while I was surfing through the YouTube videos, there was a video where all 3-4 types of fuel, the regular fuel, the 95, the 93, and the your 100 octane, were kept in a glass plate and they were burned. And what that YouTube video was trying to demonstrate was that, look, the 100 octane fuel doesn't burn completely, because a lot of mess was left in the 100 octane fuel, whereas all other fuels were burned quite efficiently. But you need to understand what that guy on the YouTube didn't understood, I would say, that these 100 octane fuel are used for high compression engines, and what that actually translated to in layman terms, let me tell you. High compression engines are where the fuel is injected into the combustion chamber at a very, very high temperature, where the molecules of air are so compressed that when the piston does the knocking, it actually gives the kind of power in proportion to what the ratio is actually the compression ratio is. I literally can't put it into a simpler terms, because I know what it is, but it is sometimes so tough to explain what it actually is. So we need to go to the right. So that is what I want to say, because a simplicity explanation that okay, look, so much residue has been left in 100 octane and hence it is bad for your engine. No, that's not the case. It is the compression ratio of the engine which will determine whether, and of course all other many factors, not just compression ratio, the type of construction, the material used in the chamber, everything matters. And that's why I'm saying the recommendation of the manufacturer is critical when you go for such race fuels. Lot of babbling, lot of talking, man. Okay, some young blood. The R15, man. Go through your manual, user manual of the bike. If your manufacturer is not recommending, man, don't go for 100 octane. 100 octane fuel is not for regular city riding. If you want to go bonkers like them, your bike might survive if it's capable of burning that 100 octane. Otherwise your fuel lines, your fuel injection system and everything else would be subjected to lot of harassment. That's for sure, if believing that it would survive. Okay, so that's the case, and I'm done talking about 100 octane. I must have left out a lot of things. If you believe so, then do me a favor, write down in the comment. We could discuss it, and definitely it will be helpful even for me, because I'm a motorcyclist. I love riding motorcycles, but technical knowledge, whatever I have, whatever I discuss with you guys, is subjective. It's based on my experience and not a very technical and in-depth video which will give you chemical analysis of 100 octane. But man, I'll tell you, 100 octane is a fuel. If you are into racing or into crazy riding, then man, that fuel really makes a difference. Even in a 155cc engine, it really makes a difference. So didn't I'm sorry. So don't blame the fuel itself. Blame our ignorance of knowing the fact where this fuel could be used, should be used. So wow, man. I haven't talked about this bike or my experience with this bike in any of my videos. I haven't even put an official video of buying this bike on YouTube. I haven't shared it with you guys, I know that. But I must say, I'm loving it, man. And that would be something for the next video. I won't talk about it in the next video. So this is me, Akash Sinha, the motorcyclist, signing off. Bye bye, take care.